What's up and welcome back to the Kinda Funny Screencast. Of course, I am your host, Tim Geddes. I am joined today by Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Good day, Tim.
And Roger Picorni.
Gotta go fast.
AKA my two Sonic sickos, brothers in arms.
Team Sonic.
Team Sonic,
Team
baby.
Sonic.
Let's freaking go. Yeah, we got to go see a early screener of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Gia came as well. Leanza came as well. We had a fantastic time, and we're going to talk all about that because, of course, this is where we review movies, TV shows, trailers, all of that type of stuff. The Kinda Funny Screencast. You can get the podcast feed on the In Review feed going forward. All of our entertainment podcasts will be on the In Review feed. And of course, you can get this on YouTube as well. If you wanted to go above and beyond, though, you can get the Kinda Funny membership. It gets you the shows ad-free. You can watch live as we record them, and you get the daily exclusive Greg Way. You can get all of that on Patreon or on YouTube, and we appreciate you all. But we especially appreciate our Patreon producers, Delaney Twining and Carl Jacobs. Today, we're brought to you by Heart Electric, Still Wakes the Deep, Aura Frames, and Marvel Snap, but we'll tell you all about that later. This littlest bit of housekeeping that I want to get to. This is our last day of content this year.
Holy crap.
This beautiful
Going out
Friday
with a bang.
that this is posting. And so, yeah, please enjoy. But we will be back. Kinda Funny will return January 3rd for our 10-year extravaganza. Of course, we will be streaming. Of course, there will be a thermometer with a whole bunch of cool stuff on it. So we're going to want to hang out with all of you on YouTube and Twitch all day long, January 3rd. Get hyped. Get excited. It's going to be a big one. 10 years, boys.
10 years.
10
You're not going to want to miss
years.
it, everybody. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we've been working hard. Real hard on some stuff, and it's going to be good. I'm excited for everyone to see. But enough of all of that. We got to get into it. Let everyone know we're going to do spoiler-free review of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 until we go to ads. Then when we come back from the ads, we're going to go all in on spoilers because there's a lot of stuff that we got to talk about in some detail.
So much dumb shit.
So much
dumb shit. The words that are going to come out of my mouth during this podcast are just, I don't understand. Like, it's out of context. It's going to be incredible.
Raj, let's start with you then.
Hi.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3, spoiler-free, what did you think? And what did you think of the other movies as well?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Sonic 1, 2, and Knuckles. Watched Knuckles in its entirety. I would say that that's like just basically a 3-hour one of these movies, right? It's the same. It's kind of the same level of quality.
With Kid Cudi.
Yeah, with Kid Cudi, of course. I would say in total, Sonic 1 is probably like a 7. Sonic 2 is a 7.5. Knuckles is probably like a 6.5 in all honesty. I would give this a 7. I think this is good. Like, this is a good film. I do think we got to have a real conversation about Jim Carrey. We got to have a conversation about Jim Carrey's, and also where we're taking this franchise in the future, right? I think I was a little disappointed, generally speaking, when it comes to this movie, not because they necessarily bungled anything, just because there's so much going on, and the baseline story of what we have here is Sonic Adventure 2, right? Like, we're talking about Maria, we're talking about Shadow, right? Like, that is kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, but I at least in the Sonic fandom, is like regarded as like, oh, this is the story. Like, this is a really, really, like, in terms of like emotional story that people at least are look at and they're like, oh, this is the one they could adapt and do really well. There's so much going on around it that we just kind of forget about the core essence of Shadow and Maria and a lot of the other things. So by the ending of the movie, I was like, oh, I had a good time with it, but I know for a fact we could have, if we focus on the main characters, we focus on Team Sonic as like the actual core of this movie instead of Jim Carrey and all the other random things that are happening in this film, I think we would have gotten to that 8 finally, at least for me personally. I didn't think that it hit those strides, and I'm interested to see where we're going to take it for the 4th one, because clearly they're going to go down that path. I just think that the Jim Carrey of it all is just, he's such an amazing actor. He eats up the scenery. You give him a line, he will run with it and make that into a 5-minute bit if you really want to. I think that leaning on him is kind of hindering the movie as a whole, as a Sonic product, is my main issue. What do you guys think?
Blessing.
Man, there's so much to say about this movie.
And I want you to say it all.
There's so much to say about this movie.
This is what we're doing.
It's funny because I was telling Roger right before this that I've not thought too deeply about this movie since watching it. I haven't unpacked everything that I saw last night. And so it's going to be fun being able to unpack this right here with you guys. I think talking about Sonic 1 and 2, I like both those movies. I love Sonic 2 especially. Sonic 1, I enjoyed. I think I was more surprised by Sonic 1, just the fact that it was as enjoyable as it was. Wasn't like, I wouldn't even say it's a great movie. I think it's a solid good. I think Sonic 1 is a solid good. I think Sonic 2 might bump it up to great for me, but it's to the Roger thing of with caveats, right? It's a kids movie and it has to be a kids movie, and that's not even a complaint. That's just the reality of what these are. There's a lot of Jim Carrey, which I think is attached to it being a kids movie, and like the Jim Carrey is, again, to Roger's point, a lot to talk about there, because I've actually never been the biggest fan of his Dr. Robotnik. I think the casting was inspired and great. The actual, like, the jokes he's bringing to the table, the over-the-topness he's bringing to the table, like, has always been one where I'm like, listen, I understand that this is what it needs to be in order to be a Sonic movie. Like, Jim Carrey...
This is how you get this movie made.
This is how we get this movie made. This is what's, like... This is like the X factor, I guess, if you can even call that to what this is. As the movies have gone on, he's become more and more over-the-top Jim Carrey in ways where this time around, like... No, by no means ruined the movie or anything for me, but there was like a half of the jokes where I'm like, all right, that was funny, Jim Carrey. And then the other half where I'm like, where it is cringe, but I'm also like, it's kids' movie, so like there's a balance to it. I can't get too mad at it because I know if I was 5 years old, I'd probably be fucking dying at some of the shit that's going on here. All that said, when I remove like the Jim Carrey aspect, which is a huge aspect, right? But when I focus on like the shit that appeals to me as a Sonic fan, everything that they do with the hedgehogs, the fox, and the echidna is so fucking perfect in this movie. It's like really, really good. I think it is the most almost like effortlessly good and the most effortlessly like Sonic this franchise has been so far in these movies, where like there are things that they reference where I'm like, man, I'm surprised they haven't done that yet, but like it felt really cool when they did that in this movie, right? There are moments that they take as inspiration from the games, like iconic moments that you've seen, where I'm like, man, they really did that. I cannot believe I'm seeing this happen in live action, and all that stuff is like so perfectly done. I think this is my favorite Sonic movie so far. We're on an upward trajectory, in my opinion, in these things. There's a big Jim Carrey conversation to be had of like how much Jim Carrey is too much, but all that said, I had a really good time.
Yeah.
Tim, what about you?
Loved this movie. Absolutely loved this movie. Having said that, I feel like I'm kind of with you, Raj, on like the number of it. Like, I think at the end of the day, I'd probably give this a 7.5.
Yeah.
I feel like Sonic 1, maybe a 5.5. Sonic 2, probably a 7. And Sonic 3, a 7.5. But that's more just talking about like the quality of the movie, and it is a kid's movie, but that means that I feel like it kind of doesn't, like that missing 2.5 to me actually wasn't the Jim Carrey of it all. I like Jim Carrey. I like his Eggman, his Robotnik, and he makes me laugh. And there's a lot of stuff that didn't make me laugh. There's a lot of stuff that was cringy. But there was a couple things that made me laugh out loud.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
There's
some great laughs.
He had some good laughs in there.
And as Eggman, I actually think he does a very good job, especially in this one, them letting him kind of go all in on it. But I feel like the 2.5 missing from my scale of taking this to a 10 really is the storytelling, the emotional beats, like the Shadow, Maria, Sonic, like the way all of these things happen kind of feels a little too fast. I know that's Sonic's thing, but I feel like they didn't let us sit in kind of the emotions, and we kind of moved from like,
dude, I teared up.
Oh, see, I was about to say, I did not tear up from this movie.
Wow.
And like, both from an emotional standpoint as a 35-year-old man that cares way too much about the connections of these characters, but from the hype. The hype was amazing. The hype, honestly, I will say is like 10 out of 10. Despite that, though, it wasn't 11 out of 10.
No.
Like, there was some things missing where it didn't hit me with that, like Sonic 2 has a moment, I mean, we can spoil Sonic 2 here, when he goes supersonic, it was like, great. Holy shit, they're doing this. This is insane. Like, when you see the Chaos Emeralds go up and spin, like, that did things to me. This movie, a lot of moments did things to me, but I'm just the little slightest bit, I don't even want to say I'm let down. I just know that going forward in my future, I don't know that I'm going to rewatch moments of this movie over and over and over to feel something.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what? I take that back.
I'm surprised.
I will.
Okay.
But I don't think that there's going to be the ones that are like the fucking all-timers. Like, holy shit. And I think it's because a lot of the big moments, they cut away to Jim Carrey.
Yes.
And it's like, let these moments just breathe a little bit.
It feels like we're kind of, I know this is not actually how this movie is, but maybe it is a little bit of like, we're rushing past this thing because we need to have Jim Carrey have a 5-minute dance sequence with himself, right?
Like, we can't let 5 minutes go by without Jim Carrey on screen. Like, there has to be a ratio of Jim Carrey.
And that's like the interesting thing about it. We're harping on Jim Carrey because he is in a lot of this movie. He is playing a dual character, which, by the way, the dual character aspect of it, fucking incredible.
It was.
Like, the way that they actually filmed it, and like, there's a lot of interaction with himself. Like, it is top tier.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
It is really impressive stuff. So there's double Jim Carrey in this, but in my opinion, in the story of what they actually provide here, you didn't need double Jim Carrey. You needed one Jim Carrey, maybe. Like, in the actual story that they're creating here, you maybe need one Jim Carrey.
So this is where I'll step in a little bit. It's like, it's not Jim Carrey, it's Robotnik. Like, Robotnik is a Sonic character and like is core to Sonic Adventure 2 and like all this. I just feel like I'm much happier that this movie gave us more Jim Carrey and more Sonic characters than more Donut Lord or more weddings and more things like that. Having said that, though, something that I really appreciate about these movies and Knuckles, which I finally watched for the first time, I really think that while my score might not be the highest thing ever, I really think that these are incredibly special kids movies that I'm so happy that kids are going to are growing up watching this trilogy that cares so much about its source material, but also cares about creating a universe with characters. Like there are like payoffs and jokes and references to human bullshit from the first movies in this new one that I was like, good for you guys. Like, you care clearly about making the Sonic movie universe its own thing with its own characters and its own vibe. That's not just references to the games and references to other stuff. They have that stuff too, obviously. But like, there's something special about this universe and their cast of characters that, you know, us reviewing this as Sonic fans that just want to see the hedgehogs punch each other because we're simple. It's like, no, there's actually a lot more here. I don't need to do a perfect job with it, but I do want to commend them for what they did with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was something that I think after the first one, going into the second one, they could have easily had an off-ramp, right? We could have just been like, we're with Knuckles, and then he moves away, and we don't see these people ever again. They disappeared. But they don't. And like, I think too, I totally get what you're saying, but I also think Knuckles kind of ruined it a little bit for me because Knuckles is... The show. Yeah, Knuckles the show is not the greatest thing ever, but the human element of it is interesting and like funny in its own quirky way that isn't the way that Jim Carrey is funny and quirky, right? Jim Carrey almost feels like a different universe. And I know it's Eggman, but Eggman and Jim Carrey's version of Eggman feels like it's not part of this universe almost. It's like him doing his own thing. It almost feels like Jim Fowler, who's like directing this movie. It's like, you have this guy, you have Jim Carrey, who's going to do everything amazing. Of course you're going to write for him. Of course you're going to have a sequence where he dances with himself. Of course you're going to have all these incredible things because he's going to kill it. He's going to do amazing, but it's not in service of the actual story and what they're creating.
And it's also fascinating because I think Jim Carrey's version of Dr. Robotnik is different than, I guess, what I have always viewed as Dr. Robotnik. Like, of course he's goofy and like, he's like, look at him, like that's Dr. Robotnik. But there is a like a half to 75% of like what Jim Carrey is bringing to the table where I'm like, whoa, man, you are taking this character to an extreme that I do not recall him ever being. But like, and I'm not mad at it because again, like I think it works for kids. And this is a man who has to be the human villain to a bunch of cartoon characters. And so like, I get it. He has to be a legitimate cartoon villain in a real human body. So I get that direction of it. But yeah, like there is I think a weird balance where like we cut over to like Team Sonic stuff, and like when they get into some of the emotional core, like I am like, yo, I really like some of these back and forths. I like how they explore Sonic. I like how they explore Shadow. I like how they explore like what's going on with Team Sonic, right? But then you cut back to Jim Carrey, and I'm like, this feels like a different movie sometimes. But I will say, if this is, I don't know if this is his last hurrah. He keeps saying that he's done with movies, and he keeps coming back for Sonic. But if this is the last one, right? Like, I would be excited to see like where they go beyond this. Like I am still in a place where I'm like, man, I can't wait for the next Sonic movie. Oh yeah, which is probably the best
crazy,
thing.
Right?
Best thing I can say about this. I am looking forward to whatever the future of this franchise is.
Yeah,
I'm very happy I watched Knuckles before it. Like there's very few, but a couple like really nice callbacks to the show.
I think there's one. I can't think of more than one.
Yeah, we'll talk
about it. Okay,
we'll talk about it. Like fun stuff. I thought they handled it well. What I liked about Knuckles is that it had a different tone than the movies.
Yes.
It's a little bit more adult humor. Like just it doesn't feel like a kid's show as much. I mean, there's definitely some stuff, but like a lot of the writers on that were the crew from Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, that
and
makes
like
sense.
it has
That makes
a little
so
bit
much
more of
sense,
like that
yeah.
Paul Scheer kind of like jokes. And I'm like, I appreciate that stuff. And I feel like Sonic 3 had more of that than the first two movies did, like a little bit more. And I feel like the story that they told, the pacing of this movie works so much better than the other two. This one, it's all focused on one story.
Yeah.
Like some of it's not chronological, and they do a couple things, and I feel like we get pulled out of what we actually want to see a little bit too much. But it's not cutting away to the wedding.
Yeah,
you know
shit
what I
that
mean?
you don't care
And
about.
it's not cutting away to things that are just like, what the hell's going on? Like, I really just want to see these guys race or fight or have deep emotional conversations. We get so much of that.
Yeah.
We get so much.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very well paced movie. Like as we're entering into the third act, I was like, oh, is it already ending? Like we're already here, and it's a kids movie, so it's probably shorter. But like, yeah, no, I think it's paced very well. I also do want to commend the action. Because, like, there are action sequences where legitimately, like, I am getting hyped. There was a moment in the movie where there was a guy in the front row that was fucking, like...
He was freaking
like
out.
a grown man that was like, let's go! Oh, like, fucking hyped. And I'm like, you know what, man? Good for us.
Good for us. Good for us.
Good for us.
us, like-
Not one child in that theater, bro.
When we left, Gia looked at me. She was like, "I'm so happy for you guys."
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I like
This is a special
legitimately.
moment.
I cannot believe like some of the things that they're depicting on screen are things that are happening. Like that's how good some of the action stuff is. Like I am getting hints of Dragon Ball Z,
Straight the fuck up.
right? And like not that it's as like the action is good as a Marvel movie or as good as anything like that, but like for a kids movie, for a kids Sonic movie, you give this to me at 10 years old. Oh my God, this is the
life.
best thing I've ever seen in my life at 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
Like I am envious of the kids that get to watch this.
And at 35, I think it's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I really think that it's not just, oh, the action's good for a kid's movie. Like, the choreography and action set pieces in Sonic 3, I think, are the best we've seen so far. And I thought, too, the fight between Knuckles and Sonic in 2 was freaking
Really great.
awesome. But what we get here, it's next level. It's
so
just,
good.
it's just exactly what you want it to be. Like, in fact,
It's
there's some parts we'll get to in the spoiler. There's some parts of this that it was cooler than I expected it to be.
Oh, 1000%. It was to the point where I was like, man, we could have. I know that like it's not like the movie is lacking in action. I would have taken a lot more though.
Yeah, that's. I think in the middle section, we kind of forget about a little bit of the action set because we starts off really hot and it ends really hot. The middle just kind of
Middle is slow.
The middle is focused on the Jim Carrey aspect. We have a lot of Jim Carrey action there.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a great time. I can't wait to watch it again. I got tickets for Friday, 40X, baby.
yeah.
Nice.
Gonna get
40X.
thrown out of my seat. Can't wait. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, overall, I would recommend watching Sonic 3 for sure in theaters. I
Yeah.
think it's worth it.
I'm
Yeah, no.
recommending it too. If I'm giving it a score, I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Well, yeah, no, I would recommend this for sure. I mean, I don't think that this. I prefer Sonic 2 over this one, but I mean, you got to watch this one. I mean,
Interesting.
just for the story. Just for the story.
Want to talk
Just
about
the
that?
story, yeah.
All right, everybody. We're about to take a quick ad break, and when we come back, we're going full spoilers. Full spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Sonic 3, go away. And I'm telling you, there's stuff to be spoiled on. You're not going to want that. Here's some ads. This episode's brought to you by Heart Electric. Heart Electric is an upcoming 4-team arena shooter with a fresh twist. Outthink and outplay your opponents to ultimately come out on top in the battle for life-sustaining energy. Made by developers from the Battlefield series and Helldivers 2, Heart Electric is all about eliminating 3 other teams by dropping their energy to 0 while keeping your team's energy supply high. How you keep yourself in play is up to your own scheming. Take a direct approach and steal energy from other teams' bases, or complete assignments while staying out of the spotlight. When one team takes the lead, do you communicate with the other teams and form a temporary truce, or do you take advantage of the panic to launch a sneaky assault on the weakest link? Heart Electric's winter playtest is going down January 18th, starting at noon Eastern Time. Sign up through Steam to not miss the chance to try the next big FPS. Heart Electric. If you're ready to feel the pulse and beat the odds, jump into Heart Electric on January 18th. Visit bit.ly/heartelectrickKF to sign up and feel the pulse. Still Wakes the Deep is a first-person narrative horror game from the genre masters at the Chinese Room. Featuring an all-star cast of Scottish actors, it combines grounded storytelling with unknowable horror for a truly unique and terrifying adventure. Set at Christmas 1975, you play as Kaz McCleary, a family man running from the police by taking a job on the Baradi oil rig. But the holiday cheer turns to festive fear as something incomprehensible comes aboard and starts wiping out everything in its path. With your escape routes cut off and no way to contact the mainland, your only hope is to run and hide as you make your way across the collapsing rig. Navigate pitch black corridors, crawl through tight underwater spaces, and try not to make a sound during tense stealth sections. Whatever you are afraid of, Still Wakes the Deep has something that will freak you out. To celebrate the festive season, Still Wakes the Deep is currently 35% off on Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5. Buy today and add some horror to your holidays. This episode's brought to you by Aura Frames. Let's be honest, what most people really want for the holidays is to see their favorite people more often. That's why this year, the best gift that you can give, besides plane tickets, is an Aura digital picture frame. Aura Frames are incredibly smart and easy to use, allowing you to upload unlimited photos and videos directly from your phone to the frame. Plus, you can order the frame online and preload it with photos and videos using the Aura app, so it's ready to go right out of the box. Greg, Kevin, and a ton of people here at Kinda Funny are obsessed with their Aura frames. It takes about 2 minutes to set up a frame using the Aura app. That means you'll be able to easily add all of the photos of the new memories you make this holiday season. Save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using promo code KindaFunny at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code KindaFunny. This deal is exclusive to listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply. auraframes.com, promo code KindaFunny. This episode's brought to you by Marvel Snap. Y'all know Marvel Snap completely took over my life when it burst on the scene 2 years ago. I love it so much that I even mentioned Marvel Snap in my own wedding vows, because to this day, my wife Gia is so obsessed that she has not missed a single day of completing her challenges. Marvel Snap is an award-winning collectible card game that combines deep strategy, a unique snapping mechanic, and your favorite Marvel characters with thousands of unique card art variants created by renowned artists to collect and use. New cards are released every week, new seasons every month, and frequent events keep the game fresh and exciting. Each game only takes about 3 minutes, so you can get in and out wherever you are. And with more than 270 cards in Marvel Snap with over 2,000 unique art variants, you'll always find some new fun. Art is central to Marvel Snap. They have partnered with over 300 renowned artists to create all of the unique art in the game, and it's always cool to see the new designs. Download the Marvel Snap app now, available on the App Store, Google Play, and Steam, or visit marvelsnap.com to learn more. Okay, so we got to start at the back, right?
Yeah, we started
okay. We're starting at the
We
end.
got to do it. Sonic 1, post-credit scene, Tails. Sonic 2, they nail it with Tails and Knuckles. Sonic 2, post-credit scene, Shadow.
Yeah, of course.
Sonic 3, Shadow's in it. They nail it.
Mm-hmm.
Post-credit scene. Metal Sonic, baby.
So good.
And he looks perfect.
Exactly.
It was almost kind of scary how like perfect it looked. I was like, oh, that's Metal. Like as soon as you see the eyes, I'm like, oh, that's Metal Sonic. This is what Sonic CD, I believe, was.
Yeah, Sonic
I was
CD
like, he
is
looks
first,
exactly
which
the
is
way he looks in
second
Sonic CD.
game. That came out before Sonic 2.
Yeah, but I do like the way they're pacing it because you got to get to Shadow, right? You got to get to Shadow. So I do like that we're finally to the place where they're introducing Metal Sonic, which I think is a pretty good villain actually to introduce after Shadow. I mean, like the villain to introduce.
It
after
is
Shadow.
the villain, right? Like for sure. Like
I have no context for Metal Sonic. For some reason, Metal Sonic is just not in my
Metal
repertoire.
Sonic is Sonic's rival, whereas like Shadow is kind of like his like I don't even know what you would call him. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Shadow's like his Vegeta.
Okay, yeah,
Whereas
that
like
works.
Metal Sonic, I don't know if there's a Dragon Ball Z. Like Cell, maybe, I don't know.
Okay,
Like,
yeah, he's just
it's
like the
straight
bad
up
guy.
bad
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, okay.
And we get many of them. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is freaking cool. And they go to shoot at him, and all of a sudden things turn slow-mo.
Yeah.
And we see a hooded figure
With a hammer.
with a giant hammer, fuck all these people up, throw the hood off, and it's Amy. God.
No voice.
Dude.
No voice.
Good, yeah. Let's
We're
save it.
gonna
Let's
save it.
figure
We're
out
gonna
who
save
we
it.
can
We
get.
can start talking about who we think that might be, but I have no clue. But
What did this do for you, Bless?
Oh, it did so much. I can't believe how good Amy Rose looks. Like, it was, my eyes had to adjust a second when she took off the hood because I was like, is that really her? Like, maybe the coloring of the fur might have been a little bit too, like, light pink. But aside from that, perfect. Absolutely perfect. They did so much for me. Question I have for you, Tim. Metal Sonic, canonically, which is crazy to think, but like canonically, are there multiple Metal Sonics? Has that always been a thing? I thought there was one.
Well,
Was there multiple?
Yes, it is the one. There are multiple though that they end up making. But so Robotnik made Mecha Sonic, which is like you fight that in Sonic 2 on the Death Egg.
Yes.
You know, different That's different.
That's different from Metal Sonic,
Metal
which I
Sonic-
always get mixed up.
Metal Sonic is iconic for the race, like him and Sonic race in a Sonic CD and in Generations and pretty much any time they get the opportunity on I forget what it's called, Stardust Speedway Stardust, something like
Stardust
that.
Speedway sounds right.
That's like the Sonic, Metal Sonic.
Gotcha.
But tying Amy and Metal Sonic with a CD connection, pretty cool because the Amy Rose first debuted in Sonic CD. Sonic CD, very time travel-y.
That is true.
So I'm very interested in what we saw with the Metal Sonic army and Amy saving Sonic. They're in New York, which is a little weird. I wonder what this means for Sonic 4 because I think it means something.
Do we know what it means though?
I mean, I think I feel like we're about to get to the point that we are going to visit more worlds than just staying on Earth.
I mean, I would love that,
hope so.
right? Like, I think right now we got hints of it, I think, in like the post-credit to Sonic 1 where Eggman lands on like some other planet or whatever. Mushroom Planet.
Sonic 2 opens with that.
Yeah, Sonic 2 opens with that, and I thought we were going to get more of that stuff in Sonic 2.
I thought that we were going to get that in this movie, right? Like, I mean, especially when they had the moment, which they're teeing up in the intro of the movie, where they go into Sonic's original lair when he landed on Earth, and then they had the little thing where he drew the owl and his owl mom. I still have no idea what the fuck's going on with that. I guess we don't in general. Yeah, I guess we just don't in general like have too much context for that, other than that one little sequence in Sonic. Well, just like the history, we don't really meet that tribe or anything. We never go back to that world necessarily, but
no, but I mean we hear a lot about it, right?
Yeah.
Like we just know the echidnas and the owls like had a war.
but it's like territory that is outside of the games, right?
Yes,
so this that's what I'm saying. Like we haven't gone back to that necessarily. So when he showed in that and they were talking about Earth Day and everything, I was like, oh, okay, this is the movie where we get off of Earth. This is the movie where we finally are out of Earth and we're like, okay, now he's just going to be living in fucking Green Hill
He's going to go to these other places.
Which that's what I thought this post-credit scene was going to be, because the whole movie feels so great because you finally have those three, right? Yep. You finally have the three and they're together and they're friends, and it's like, okay, I don't know if I can keep on doing, and I'm not poo-pooing this at all, because I'm happy Amy Rose is here. I'm happy we're doing all this. But I also don't know how many movies I can do where it's like, here's another one. Okay, now we have to kind of figure out who's the friendship, and now we have to build the relationship from scratch. Like, I just want all of them. I just want him to live with all of these people, and I don't want every single movie to just end with the post-credit scene of like, here's another guy now. Like, I want him to just live in this world.
It does work. That's the difference between me and you.
I was gonna say it does work for me. Okay. Like, I do like that. You know, Sonic 2 was the Tails and Knuckles movie, right? Sonic 3 is the Shadow movie, right? If Sonic 4 is the Amy Rose movie plus Metal Sonic as the villain, I'm like, yeah, give that to me.
That's fair.
Introduce Croc in 5 or whatever his name is. His name is definitely not Croc, but like, or Big the Cat or Cream or whatever, right?
I love
like,
Big the Cat.
If we like,
never mind, I'm in.
I think there's just so much content to work with when you are kind of drip feeding these characters, and I think like. I think there's a chance, though, that like in this next Sonic movie, you get Amy Rose, and Amy Rose takes Sonic into another world, and guess what? All the other characters are there. I think there's a chance of that, but I think once we get past that, I feel like we might be hurting for content a little bit. Like then
I think we already are. I think we're already at a point of like I mean, now that Amy and Metal Sonic are revealed, like
we're here.
The All Stars are here, right?
Yeah.
Like after this, it's like
Rouge,
we start getting
Silver.
into. I mean, obviously huge, but like. Rouge is big. I'm a little surprised we didn't get her in this.
I'm surprised.
When we saw that one shot from the trailer where it looked like someone was missing.
Yeah,
I mean, they're just the spot.
They just awkward framing.
But I do think that this movie being based on Earth made sense because it's based on Sonic Adventure 2. When you look at the movie so far, we had Sonic 1. The movie is very little Sonic. Like it is mainly more just like, hey, this is a kids movie. Let's introduce this character. But it's more a buddy cop, like you know. Cartoon in real life type situation.
Sure.
Sonic 2, the movie, was a loose but adaptation of the Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 stories. Like Knuckles, the Master Emerald, all that stuff. Like they did that. And then this one clearly is Sonic Adventure 2. I do think that and then Knuckles was just setting up Knuckles and like some of the side characters. I think we're going to get more Paramount Plus shows. Like, there's been rumors of Knuckles' Chaotix thing of introducing Team Chaotix, which could be interesting. A Shadow thing, I think, is almost guarantee unless they turn that into its own movie, which I wouldn't be surprised by. And then I think that, once we get to Sonic 4, the humans are always going to be involved. And I think that they have to be because, like I said earlier, they're doing a good job of this being a kids franchise that is its own thing, and the humans are part of that. And honestly, at this point, I like the humans. Like the majority of the characters,
I'm not mad at it.
I'm here for it. I feel like the amount that they were in this movie, I was like, I liked it. Some characters were a little weird. Kristen Ritter could have done without her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna get to that later, but yeah, she was just in this movie.
Yeah.
Like not much purpose.
A couple
really.
weird jokes about her too that I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
huh.
Weird.
Yeah, really weird joke. Really weird. Like, the dude being like, "Oh man, you're hot." To your wife, who's transformed into Kristen Ritter.
And your wife's so hot. It's like,
exactly.
what are we doing here? So that was a little weird. But I think that Sonic 4 is, I mean, just like each one of these movies has gotten progressively more and more CG stuff and what we actually want, which is the team and the areas we know them from. I think 4 is going to have the most of that, which is exciting.
I really hope.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot you can do, especially when we talk about this as a kid's movie, right? Like, I feel like they've exercised restraint almost by not throwing in Cream and Big the Cat and all these characters that are very merchandisable, that are already, merchandise or whatever. But like, a movie allows you to double down on so much of that stuff. I'm surprised they just haven't kicked open the door and go, all right, everybody flood in. Like,
Here it
here's
is.
all the Sonic characters in here.
Well, I think the reason is, and it's very smart, is like clearly Jeff Fowler's a fan of Sonic, of the games and of the shows and all of it. Like, there's so many like touchstones and touch points in these movies that I'm like,
chows.
you get what the audience wants from this. And the restraint that he shows, I think, is really great because, real talk, the Sonic the Hedgehog games, it was the moment that we were getting Cream. We were getting like all these Sonic stupid friends.
Yeah.
Like, that's when the Sonic games started getting bad.
Yeah.
That's when the conversation around Sonic started souring. So I think focusing on the all-star cast of like the hitters only is the wisest call. And then eventually it is just going to be everyone's here and like whatever, but that's Sonic 5, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I am interested to see where they go in the future, especially with all the spinoffs, because we can talk about spoilers about Knuckles and stuff like that. Like, I didn't necessarily see much connection to Knuckles in this movie, right? I didn't feel like a necessary journey. I'm happy I watched it just because of, honestly, the bowling stuff was just fucking hilarious. What they do with Knuckles.
Show,
yeah, it's a funny little show and it's like a easy breezy time, but like it didn't feel as connected as an MCU show or something like that, or something. I know MCU, whatever. What I'm saying is, like, if you have like literally one spinoff and then you have the movie, like they didn't connect it as much as I thought they would have.
They connected it more than I expected. Like,
Really?
and I'm with you where it's like, I would love it if it was like required viewing because it really matters like that. No, it's not at all. It's just a stupid fun show. But I thought with the Wade character, I'm endeared to him now. Like,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
like him. So when he pops up here as the warrior, I'm like, that's a dumb thing.
So is that a Knuckles thing?
that was in Knuckles.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Knuckles.
Which, again, the movie explains enough. You don't need to have seen it.
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
know.
honestly, I was like, oh, this must have been from the last movie that I forgot.
Yeah, no, but it's like the whole thing is like him becoming the warrior. So I like that, and him having the fucking fists.
Yeah.
Like Knuckles having the fists. I'm like, all right, like,
Yeah.
cool. That was enough for me. Made Knuckles worth it.
Yeah.
But let's get into the good stuff, y'all. We start this movie off with escaping. Shadow just fucking escaping.
Yep.
And it's
Oh,
perfect.
Also, the guy from Lonely Island's in it for some reason.
Yeah.
Random.
So
Just random. Just like one scene.
Couple funny bits and like dialogue bits here where like Shadow fucks up all the humans.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, send more guys. And there's
like,
no one
we
to
don't have-
send.
It's like
We don't
five
have
people.
more guys.
They had 5 people on the gun staff.
Love this.
I appreciate like this movie must be rated like what PG because like there were some moments where I was like, oh, that seems violent for a kids movie.
Yep.
Like the dude falling from like whatever like second story onto the ground. I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
You fucked up.
And then we get the Shadow, that scene of him running on the water. It's just the coolest image
Yeah.
ever.
Skating
man.
on the water.
And so I loved that.
Was it is jumping forward, but like Maria skating.
Yeah.
Was that in the game?
You know,
or was that
I don't
original
think
here?
so. I think that was like a
I like
new
that
thing
touch.
they added.
I thought it was
did too.
cute.
I thought that was a
really
really cool
cute.
nod to Shadow like skating around everywhere.
Yeah. God, watching this movie with Gia was hilarious because she had no idea about Maria and her dying,
Really?
and she was very endeared by their relationship.
So for you guys who are more familiar with Shadow or with Sonic Adventure 2, how close was Maria's death here to the way it's
She
done in
gets
the
shot
game?
in the
She
head.
gets shot. Dude.
That's what I thought.
And
Yeah.
that's now we gotta have a real conversation.
Let's have it,
We
Raj.
should have shot the kid. We should have shot
shoulda
the
shot
we
the
should have
kid.
shot the kid. We don't do the thing where it's like, oh, you shoot the fucking barrel and it explodes. You shoot the fucking kid.
I don't know if we can
You
do
shoot
that,
the
though.
fucking kid.
I don't know if we can shoot the
You
kid.
do the R-rated cut and you shoot
Like,
the kid.
hey, at the very least, we killed the kid. You know,
We did kill the kid.
and that was what I was worried about. I was like, all right, are we really gonna kill this fucking kid? They
Yeah.
killed the kid,
They did kill the kid, but it was an accident. It was an accident kill. It should have been an on-purpose kill.
but I feel like on purpose kill gets this bumped up to PG-13.
Yeah, that's fair.
it.
That's fair. That's
Fucking
fair.
worth
Also, she's a little old to be Maria. I don't know.
Yeah,
like my.
well, if you're gonna kill her, I think again.
Yeah. Dude, and I had that conversation with Leanza last night where I was like, oh, yeah, maybe they did make her 12 because you can. I'm like, wait, you can't kill a 12-year-old? Like, that's not equal.
Yeah, she gave me like, I mean, I don't think they ever said her age, but I looked at that girl, I was like, that's like a 13, 14-year-old kid right there.
Yeah, a little old.
Which I think you can get away with killing like, on screen. Listen, these are the conversations that they had in the writers' room.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And they
How
went
old
up,
is too old?
Like, there's somebody who was like, all right, 9 years old, and everybody's like, no,
we
can't
10, nah, 11.
They jump, they're like 14, and they're like, oh, definitely.
Yeah, we can kill a
We can
14-year-old.
go further than that.
Yeah.
13, sure.
Yeah. The chemistry between Maria and Shadow as well, I thought
adorable,
but there were some places where I was like, this almost feels romantic in a way that I don't like.
No, I feel like that's kind of the vibe always. Not. That's not romantic, but it's just like they're close as hell.
It was
right?
authentic
Yeah.
to the game stuff less. But
Okay.
I'm with you that like I feel like they could have.
Like
When
knowing
you
that
have to call out my friend that many times, it's like, what are you trying to hide?
like if you had put like different music in the back, like put R&B in the background, all of a sudden
different movie.
different scenario, like again, knowing that's a kids movie, knowing what this is, right? Like they get away with it. I think at the end it worked. I believed in the connection. I believed in like, oh damn, Shadow's fucked up about this, right? And also older Robotnik is fucked up about this. But there were parts where I was like, huh, like this is there. Maybe it is like the pacing and how a little bit more quicker it moves. They really had to sell you on that relationship between Maria and Shadow. And I think the pacing of it just felt a little bit like, okay, we're doing this.
We're doing this.
We're speeding this up.
First big action scene, the race for Sonic's birthday.
So good.
Come on, man.
So good.
Team Sonic running, racing. It's glorious.
Yeah.
We have 99 red balloons playing in the background. And, you know, my biggest criticism of these movies, just fucking use the Sonic music.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Sonic games have such great music. Just fucking do it. And they keep hinting here and hinting there. This movie does deliver Live and Learn no less than 5 times.
Oh, yeah.
And every
So-
time I
so
popped
much
up
Live and
more.
Learn.
So damn good. But yeah, this race could have used some Sonic music, but love 99 red balloons anyways.
I mean, I love how it ended with the victory music and Sonic hitting the sign.
goalpost, dude.
God.
Have we not done that in these movies yet?
The goalpost has been in Knuckles. We already saw
Yes,
they did
that's true.
that. And in Sonic 2, after they do the dance battle, you hear the victory music from Sonic 1 and 2. And this is the victory music from Sonic 3 on.
Gotcha.
But I love that they just
do
it's
it.
full on do it
Yeah.
here, which is great.
Super fun.
But yeah, I love this little race. I love them. The banter between the three I thought was like peak. Like this whole movie, like seeing Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles interact was like, this is the good stuff.
And like, you know, you mentioned how this is more of a Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation. I do like the nods to other things like Sonic Heroes. Like even the formation of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. There's a part later on where they're falling from the sky and Tails comes through and picks them up and they're in like the flying formation from Sonic Heroes.
Come on, man.
So good.
It's the little things. And there's so many little things in this
many.
movie that just like add up.
And
But
I knew what all those little things were because I would look over and Toby would look at me like, I'm like, oh, it's a little
so
thing.
many times. But yeah, then we get to, the Shadow debut. Like
Yeah.
we saw a lot of this in the clips and stuff, but like seeing it in the theater and seeing the whole scene, holy shit, dude.
Full on John Wick shit. Just we're going all in. Just go all in Keanu Reeves stuff. It's awesome.
There's nothing cooler than in an anime where like the villain displays their power and like they beat the asses of everybody around them and like take out like the main characters. And yeah, seeing them do that with Shadow where he goes one at a time, he takes out everybody, takes out Knuckles, and then like does the thing with Sonic and like they have their, you know, he gets on the fucking motorcycle, which is cool
With
as
the
hell.
gun.
There's a very small touch here that I really loved when I think it was in the trailer when they're about to jump out of the plane. Tails, I forget who says it, but they were like, "We don't know if this is Hello Kitty or Godzilla." And then when you first see the shadow of Shadow, it looks like Hello Kitty but as Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome. It's such
Yeah.
a small little
That's
touch,
funny.
but
That's
it's so
awesome.
fucking good.
And another thing, Leanza popped the fuck off for this, which I love so much. When they jump out of the helicopter, they say the same line that Sonic says when he jumps out of the helicopter in Sonic Adventure 2, right before the city escape. And I'm like, come on, man. This is great. But something I didn't realize from the trailers is the Akira slide on the motorcycle was up the side of a skyscraper.
Unbelievable
off
shit.
of the top, dude. Like, that
So
was
cool.
so goddamn sick.
We gotta start a list of best Akira slides because that's top 5. Man.
It's top 5.
That's
so
top
good.
5.
That
It's
was
so cool.
very
and they do
fucking
it so
sick.
fast too. You're like, holy shit! Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we're doing it. Also,
So
by the
sick.
way, really quick, I played the Shadow Generations DLC. Did you play it? Mm-hmm. It's so fucking good. He does even crazier things in that, than he does in the movie, dude. He's doing some crazy stuff. It's
that's
awesome.
That's what you got to
You
do
gotta
on
play
that.
it.
Yeah,
It's-
I gotta play
it's
that.
sick.
It's awesome.
But yeah, the whole shadow sequence I thought was amazing.
Super fun. He gets the gun.
He does get
He
the gun.
gets a little guy. It's a laser gun. I'm fine with it. I already said
totally
I'm fine
fine.
with
Yeah,
it. He
it
does
looks enough like a real gun, though.
and then he throws it, and we're like, we're done with the gun. I'm
That's all
like,
we
thank you.
needed
I
to do.
appreciate it. I love you so much.
And fuck it, dude. A lot of other things happen in this movie, but let's just get to it. The Sonic versus Shadow fight.
Oh, dude, one of the sickest things I've seen in cinema ever. Like, it's like, I can't believe how the only way I can describe it is anime, right? Like, it is over the top. It is them like punching each other to different parts
The
of the
chaos
earth.
control teleporting as they're punching each other through different areas of the world. And then we see the shot of Robotnik from the space station seeing them teleport around the freaking world.
Sonic gets so mad that he punches Shadow to the moon.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. Think about
That's
how
one
raw
of the things that
is.
you take out of context. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is happening in this movie?
Like, they punch Shadow to the moon, and like Sonic is pissed off, and it is this is where I think it was the emotional swing from hype to then being like, damn, they got me, of that fight happening, and then them sitting on the moon, and then like Sonic realizing like, I can't do this, like I gotta be like the bigger person, essentially.
And they call back to the thing with Tom. It's incredible.
Yep, and Shadow being like, like, why are you stopping? Like, like all this stuff. And like them kind of meeting in that place of, like, I think what really hit for me is me being like, damn, that's like a good message for the kids.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm with you.
And that's where I started to be like, man, I can't believe kids get to like watch
dude,
this.
it's so good for
It's
you
such a good kids movie, man.
But yeah, no, I feel like that stuff, like, and it is a kids movie, so it's just on the nose and very fast, very 1 + 1 = 2.
Yep.
And I just feel like the depth's there, the characters are there. We were so close to it being like very, very moving for an adult.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just kind of a little bit like, oh, the emotional moments might not have been as perfect as they could have been. But the Sonic Shadow, and I guess another example of what I just said is the Sonic kind of getting upset when Tom might be dead and kind of turns on Tails and Knuckles.
Yeah.
It felt a little unbelievable, and it felt a little bit like we got to get to the fight. And how do we get there? Oh, he essentially says, "Fuck you, Knuckles, give me the emerald." And
I agree with you. It was fast, but I did really like the way that Knuckles
Me too.
specifically reacted to that, right? He's like, you know what? Fuck it. If this is how you want to do this, like I'll let
Yeah,
you do
you're
it.
my friend,
Like,
I trust
you.
you.
Have to go through Wade first, but you do it. You do
honestly,
it.
one of my favorite moments was
Yeah.
that Knuckle thing.
It's
I just
beautiful.
feel like the Sonic bit felt
Sure.
unbelievable. Like that to
Absolutely.
me, I'm like, I get that it's Tom and I get all that stuff, but like, despite that, I feel like they could have written it in a way that like I would have just been
Just
more
give-
like, I'm fully bought in. But whatever. It was all just to get him with the Chaos Emeralds.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it goes supersonic, and it's fucking
Man,
awesome.
I had such a good time with this. I fucking wish Target didn't spoil this for me. Like Target, they have all the ads and all the toys, and it's both of them Super Saiyan, and it's like, fuck, dude, god damn it. Like, I know, I expected it, but it's
Yeah,
just
my
like,
thing is, I knew they were gonna do it.
Yeah.
So it's like whether or
I'm
not
dumb.
it's
I didn't
spoiled or
think
not,
about it, so I
but
would have been
the
upset.
way they did it, Bless.
oh, dude, fucking both go after the emerald, fucking get in the middle, they both turn super.
Dude, when the way that they had it, where they're on what looked like another planet.
It looked like ruined Namek. Like if you watch Dragon Ball Z, like the where Goku's fighting, got him under. Goku's fighting Frieza and like the Namek exploded and shit. Like it gave me that vibe.
And it was fucking a perfect place for them to fight. And we see them, and I love that it's Supersonic versus normal Shadow. Still kind of a tight fight, which was awesome because Shadow's a badass with his chaos control. But then we see the shot of Shadow like punching the emeralds out of Sonic. So he's now just normal Sonic. And we see the face off. Sonic looks mad as fuck.
He looks pissed.
Shadow like is angry too. And we see the reflection in their eyes of the Chaos Emeralds. And I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Dude, put some Linkin Park behind
I
this.
straight up, dude.
Oh, you got that good.
But when they both get it, and it like we don't really know what happens, and the way they shoot it, we see Sonic turn super, and then in the background we see Shadow turn super. I was like, oh,
this is cinema.
oh my
It's
God.
great.
And
It's
then
great.
Live and Learn plays, and then they fucking fly and fight.
Yeah, we play it again.
It's really good. It's really good.
I can't wait to see it again, just for like, I wonder if I'm going to like change my thoughts on like, all right, fuck it, this is one of my favorite. I'm gonna watch this all the goddamn time if I see it again, because there were so many bits of this, the Live and Learn fight, that were just incredible. It was like exactly how I would want them to show this.
Yeah.
All right, we got to talk about Robotnik.
Let's go.
And we got to talk about what's his grandpa's name? Always forget.
Gerald.
All right, cool. Again, a lot of Jim Carrey, but I will say, like toward the end in the final act, where they like have on their lore accurate clothing.
Awesome. Fucking sick. They actually
Gerald
put it on.
Robotnik looks sick as
It
fuck.
was awesome. I could have done without them doing the praying mantis thing and then the lobster thing and then whatever we're doing.
I think
was
they
like,
needed to find a way to like really make like drive home that this is Robotnik, I guess. It's like, oh yeah, he knows how to do nanomachines. But it's like, all right, we're kind of weird here.
Yeah.
And to your point, right? Like I think you mentioned this before of like, did we need to bring back like, or do we need to have like double the Robotnik? I think Gerald Robotnik probably could have held down this movie.
Or we could have had both of them, just not together. Like we could have done oh, my grandpa, he existed, and then like we do a flashback for a second with him and Maria and everything, and he died too or whatever. And then now he's like, I correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't actually played through Sonic Adventures 2. That's a Leanza situation, but like I'm pretty sure it's just our Robotnik, right? It's not Gerald Robotnik in terms of like Gerald's in the past stuff. So that's kind of the vibe that's the reason why they did it like that, right? And I think they should have kept it like that here.
Counterpoint.
Okay.
I know this makes me a bad person. The dance scene made me laugh.
It's great. It's funny.
Very hard.
It's a different movie. It's like it literally stops the movie. Like it's like we're doing a whole fucking sequence of like we're breaking into the place, and then we stop the movie and we do like a 5-minute dance sequence, which is great. It's super funny. Not this movie though.
I loved it. I fucking loved it, man. It being both the Jim Carreys dancing together. It's
very well done.
It kept getting funnier to me. Like the whole thing
because they kept on committing to it. They kept on committing to it.
Hard.
They kept on committing to it. I get it, and I feel like such like a poo-poo hater on this thing because it is funny and it is silly. Yeah. But I know that the story could have been very much tighter if we just kept on with Robotnik that we know, looking back in the past, like, oh my god, I had a grandpa. Like we could have had even the same emotional moments too.
Yeah,
he just didn't need to be there. Like it would have been fine, at least in present day.
Yeah, I tend to lean more toward where you're at. I think the part I will say about the whole villainous situation is Agent Stone. He's a treasure, man.
And the reason that I'm so high on the humans in these movies at this point, and which is something I can't believe I would ever say after Sonic 1, Stone is the best character.
Yeah, he's so good.
So good.
He like brings an emotional core, which is crazy to think about given like what the fuck his character is, but like he brings an emotional core to the Robotnik situation where I'm like, all right, but I care about this guy, so I kind of fuck with it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I was certain that he was going to become best friends with Shadow by the ending of this movie. I was sure that was going to be the connection because they do the thing where he's like, "Oh, I got guac and everything." They even do like a musical stinger when he says it, like, "Oh, look how cute this is." Like, I thought they were going to come together as friends and like they were going to just have their own spin-off show, which they might do. They probably will, but
yeah. I was convinced that they're going to like confirm that they're lovers, like Agent Stone and Robotnik.
He's in Shadow.
No, not Shadow. No, not Shadow.
The first human that Shadow meets.
God,
because like they make so many references to how much like Agent Stone is legitimately in love with Robotnik that like toward the end when Robotnik is giving a speech, I was like, are they gonna like?
Dude, and they kind of hit, man.
Yeah, and they kind of hit that Robotnik's like maybe pansexual too. He's like, any type of person. No, they don't love me. Yeah. He said anybody. I was like, oh wow, that's crazy.
That speech was awesome.
It was great.
Like, and again, a very great emotional moment with Agent Stone, dude. Like, good for you.
We gotta talk about the Chow stuff.
Yeah,
because it's a really cute moment. It is the funniest. That is the funniest. The most I've laughed in a movie was the cut of they show the Chow stuff, and then it's like, oh, all three of them are sitting at the Chow Garden, which is like a Tokyo, it's
cafe.
just a cafe, yeah, with a bunch of mascots that are Chows, and then the oldest man in the world sits down, and it's just a general. And I felt so bad because I was laughing. I was like, I don't want to get kicked out of this thing, but I was laughing. I was so genuine. It was so genuine.
I mean, again.
Funny.
These movies
so
have genuinely funny moments.
Yeah.
They knew that was funny. Yeah. And it was.
It was like an SNL sketch. Yeah. It was incredible. He sits down and
it's legitimately one of the funniest moments in the movie. It's just him sitting down.
And then he dies.
He
fucking dies, and we play it so straight.
Yeah,
it was awesome. It was so good.
God. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, that whole section was great. Like, yeah, of course the Chows were fun. Like, it was nice to see the Chows. I mean, part of me does hope that we eventually do get real Chows, but it is nice. It's cute. It's a nice little wink and nod to like, hey, you guys like this thing.
You guys like perverts. This thing. Yeah. Fucking weirdos, man.
And it's the Sonic Adventure movie, right? So like, you gotta have Chows.
You gotta have
the
Chows, at least a little bit, right?
And all the Sonic Adventure 2 references. Anytime they did any pose, it was just like, y'all know what you're doing, man.
Shout out to Keanu Reeves just being Keanu Reeves.
Dude, for reals.
Yeah.
I am in love with Keanu Reeves as Shadow. He nailed it.
Yeah.
He did exactly what we needed him to do. Idris Elba as Knuckles continues to freaking deliver.
His Knuckles is great.
I always am so impressed by that because I think originally when Sonic 2, at the ending of Sonic 2, I was so scared about Shadow because I was like, are we just going to do Knuckles again? Like, what's the vibe? I know they're different characters, but it's like we did a similar thing with Sonic 2. It feels so different, at least the way that they portrayed in 3, right? Because Knuckles is a different character from 2, or at least he's grown a lot with this team. But yeah, man, the comparison between Shadow and now this other the whole team Sonic is great together. Like it feels so good, and I'm happy that he's not in the team. I'm happy he's fucking.
No, it's perfect.
Shadow is dead, but he's alive. He's alive somewhere else.
He's alive now.
Well, I don't want him. I don't want him in the team ever. I don't.
yeah.
I want him
No,
aside from the team, looking down. Like he's just there.
He's his own party for sure.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
They did a great job there.
Yeah. Can't wait for more. Again, can't wait to see this movie again. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I'm excited about this. I mean, we walked out of that and Leanza was high on it, but I think she was a little more disappointed than even me. So
Really?
I could think she's very serious when it comes to these things. She's like, I waited my entire life to see this story on screen, and it wasn't the way that I expected it to be. So she's one of those people. So she's a hating ass hater. But either way, we had a good time. We laughed, and we were like, man, I'm so happy that we're able to watch a movie like that with the group of people that we saw it with. And every single time I watch a Sonic movie, the pop in the fucking theater by the post-credit scene it rivals any Star Wars, any Marvel movie I've ever seen. It is insane. So yeah, that theater going experience with the guy in the front row screaming hell yeah in the middle of the movie, it was awesome. It was a great time.
There's so many people in the theater that was just excited scene to scene, right?
Yeah.
And like the row that were in, the people to the right of us fucking going crazy over shit that's popping off.
Yeah.
This is one that I think they is going to deliver for Sonic fans, right? If you're just a regular moviegoer, might depend on your age, might depend on like your willingness to accept like Jim Carrey and certain things, but it's a fun movie. I'm very glad we went to watch it. I'm very glad it exists.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Living the best.
Do you think we get another one in 2 years? Are we gonna?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep
how
on
long
doing
ago
it.
was
Dude,
Sonic 2?
2022.
Oh wow, so
Yeah.
it is every 2 years.
These
Every 2
movies are
years.
doing very, very well.
And they
just
have a
keep-
pipeline. They
keep
have a
getting
pipeline.
better.
Yeah. Crazy
they
stuff.
got the I mean, like, the fact that we got a Paramount Plus spin-off show that sure doesn't look as good as the movies, but yes, it does.
Yeah,
like,
it looks fine.
It's kind of unbelievable that, like, that is a full-ass, like, oh, yeah, it's live action with Knuckles there, and it looks very, very similar. Like, some of the lighting's off, whatever, but, like, that's very cool, because I do think we're going to get something Shadow.
Yeah.
Which
I hope so, man.
Shadow and Stone. I like that. I like that a lot. Let us know in the comments below if you think we're absolutely freaking crazy, or if you're a Sonic fan. It's one or
Are you
the
also
other.
one of the crazy ones?
But yeah, let us know if you are interested in watching Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Until next time, remember everybody, January 3rd, 2025, Kind of Funny's 10-year celebration. It's going to be a blast. We'll see you there. 3D Blast. Sonic there.
Hey.
Hey.